This conference will now be recorded.
Hello everyone. We are going to start this basic scientific research course. So Dr. Aisha is with you. Basically, I'm a physician from Pakistan, but I had the opportunity to work in several parts of the world, and basically I'm a gynecologist. But I was very much interested in the research, so that's why I have taken formal training in the research. I joined West Virginia University and I did MS in translational sciences and research. And here we were taught plenty of things, many interesting things that I learned. And I had the opportunity to work with some big names in the industry. And it was a wonderful experience. When we talk about research, the first thing that should be observed, that is, we have to observe certain ethics. So during my course here in the West Virginia University, I received formal training in the ethics also. We attended many workshops and courses with the National Institute of Health of the USA, and then they awarded this certificate. And then I bought several certificates from the WHO and United Nations Development Programs as well. So you all are welcome here. The purpose is just to give some information to everyone whosoever is trying to do some research in any part of the world. Everything can be researched, and you can do a lot. There are different reasons for different people to do the research. So, what are you expect? What you should expect to learn here is that what is research? What is the basic research methodology? What are the benefits of research for you? And where you will like your articles, your research work to be published, and which are credible journals, okay? How you can improve your chances of being published here, and how you can benefit in your career, in your life from the research that you have done. So basically, if we talk about research, so what is research? So research is what propels humanity forward. Research basically allows you to pursue your interest, to learn something new, to improve your problem solving skills, and to challenge yourself in new ways. If we go by the scientific definition, then research is a process through which an individual or the researcher helps to search the definite or useful information from the participants to evaluate or solve the problem related questions. We can also say that this is an art of scientific investigations or techniques done in a systematized way to improve knowledge, and it is a process of answering a question by collecting, evaluating, and interpreting information or the data in the real world. In the layman's terms, we do research so that we can identify clearly that these are like apples and these are the oranges. I mean, this is to find the truth. That is the basic definition of the research. Anything which we are doing to establish the truth. If I tell you about the broad types of the research, basically in the real world, two types of researches are done: qualitative and the quantitative. In the qualitative research, we just try to interpret everything, everything around us. This is a very big population, huge population, and there are scientific ways to establish the truth. How do we do that? We interpret many things, which I will just tell you in a short while. We can interpret everything in this universe, okay? Can be in the qualitative way, it can be good, it can be bad, it can be like agreeable, or we cannot, or sometimes we will have the things which we cannot agree upon. We cannot relate to those things, okay? So, and we have several ways to evaluate the qualitative data. The quantitative research is where we are dealing with the numbers. We are collecting data, we are analyzing them, evaluating them, interpreting the results, and then sharing the data or the information we have found. We are sharing the results with a wider population of interest. So if mostly we are doing qualitative research. In qualitative research also, we have to collect the data and then we are going to analyze that. Okay. Mostly it is done in the field of psychiatry, psychology. It is done in the applied clinical psychology. It is done in the world of media. Okay. And it is also done in the business world to see what is the response of the audience, of the user towards a certain thing. Then many other things you are going to assess on the scores, like there are depression scores. There is a Likert sto- this scale in which different numbers are given, like 1 to 6. Then you are going to assess the experience. That is it good? It is very good. It is excellent. Somehow it is acceptable, not acceptable, or rejected. You can see that there are different categories like that. Okay. So everything you read, it will give you some information. Everything you listen to, that is also giving you data. Like you are reading something in the news, then you are analyzing it. So it is there are many interesting theories which address this qualitative research. Like we have like this grounded theory, okay, prospective theory, okay, several things. But if you are belonging to, you are coming from the psychiatry, or you are coming from some other business related field, then you will be interested in the qualitative research. Similarly, if you want to see in the medical world, in the world of medicine, that what is the level of awareness of the people about the benefits of COVID-19 vaccination, COVID-19 infections vaccination, then again you can collect this qualitative data. Okay. You want to see that what is the level of awareness among the health professionals on the use of human papilloma virus vaccination. Again, you will go and see that what is the response of the people. You want to do a research in the university, you want to see that how many of the fellow students are chain smokers. Again, you are going to do the qualitative research. Okay, so these are just simple examples. So let's go to the quantitative research. Quantitative research is the something that we are doing all the time. So I can say like in 80% of the times you'll be doing the quantitative research. If you're from the field of medicine, then you would like to combine several things here. Like you would like to combine epidemiology and biostatistics to do your clinical research. Trust me, it's not difficult. You can always do something. If you see something on the surface, that is just the clinical disease. But why a person has developed a clinical disease? Like you can see at this iceberg, we are just looking at the tip where we saw that somebody has presented with a clinical disease. But now you need to go down, you should need to go deeper into the subject to see what was the environment of this population. What is this population who is suffering from this disease? What is the environment of this population? Okay, and then how disease has been conducted here, how this person has developed disease. So all the things that we know, they are on the surface, appearing in the form of clinical disease. But what underlies it, that can be huge. So we need to evaluate this information, collect and evaluate. So all of these things are important like that. Okay? That is one thing. So quantitative research is what you are going to do most of the time. So there are different purposes of doing the research. Like sometimes maybe you would like to develop certain treatments and interventions and you want to evaluate them. Then maybe you would like to testify the efficacy and effectiveness of the treatment, these treatments and the interventions. And then if you have found good results, then you would like to see what exactly is the information that we have got, and we have found the good information because it is useful. So now we should be telling other people about the results of the research, and we should be talking about implementing the research for the system-wide changes. So like I said before, like we do research because we want to improve things. This is called translational research. Why translational research? Research because it is not bookish. Research is directly related to the life, real world, real people. So you have found some useful intervention, you have found a beneficial treatment, or you have found that a certain intervention is going to improve life of people, or a certain innovation in the field of IT that is very helpful and it is going to improve lives of people. So then we are going to put research into practice, which is the basic purpose of the research. Like we are going to improve lives of human beings. So everything we do, there should be a good reason for doing it. So the research, why we should be doing it? What is the objective? Because keep in your mind that doing research, it can be an expensive business. Like you should know that what is the purpose and why we are doing the research and what type of basic research question we have developed and what will be the outcome, likely outcome, and how it will contribute to the existing information. So basically, we can say that the objective of the research is to find the truth, to find the new thoughts, or we call it innovation. And then we need to evaluate the information that we have got and then to test, basically to test a hypothesis. What is hypothesis? Like we are starting the research with the basic question. So the basic research question or the topic sentence, that is our hypothesis. So when we talk about the truth, that is the basic purpose that we are trying to find the real facts. Every type of research has its own object, but the basic aim of research in any field is always to find out or obtain the information from the markets, societies, and from their number of the respondents. Researchers they evaluate or find the real or exact information for solving the problem related questions. Innovation is very important. Some people they have done, look at the word research. You are not going to find something new, you are going to refine the topic. Maybe research was done on a topic 5 years ago and now the things have changed and you are focusing on the changes in the field. So we are trying to find the new facts. Why you will think about finding the new thoughts? Because maybe somebody did research like 5 to 10 years ago and they left there were some gaps like the knowledge was lacking or at that time they didn't have enough information to find the answer to a particular question. So now this is our opportunity that there was a gap in knowledge which we can fill right now with our new thoughts. So these are the scientific methods to find out or evaluate the information which is very necessary for evaluating the problem task. We also do research to evaluate the information first aim of the research is to find out the information and then evaluate them in an appropriate, efficient manner so that they can easily design the research problems and solve them also. Researchers, they evaluate the information through various scientific approaches and methods and statistical analysis and the procedures and another type of it, they can make different types of tables and graphs as well, which we are going to discuss shortly. So to test a hypothesis, so it is the basic objective of the research. The hypothesis, it is going to test the study, and it involves answering a number of questions. Like, you want to explore some topic, you're going to make certain formal statement like this thing, like you want to say that I want to see the outcomes of COVID-19 infection in pregnant women. So that is your formal statement. So then you will have to collect all the facts and then you will have to analyze them through the appropriate clinical methods. What should be the basic characteristics of the research? The research should be controlled. Okay, it should be done in the controlled environment. As you all know, like most of you are students or the doctors, or they are, or maybe you are established professionals. Okay, so because anybody can join this course and they can learn the basic skill to do the analysis in their own field and get their papers published. That is the basic purpose of this course. So research you have to do in the controlled environment, which means that you should be doing this research in a university or in a hospital from where you can collect data, and then you have enough facilities to run the tests, to do the statistical analysis, okay, and then to write the discussion part of your studies. It can be done independently as well, like if you're already as an experienced clinician, you are an IT expert, or you are an engineer, or you are writing your PhD thesis, still you can take this course and maybe you are doing this research under the supervision of a supervisor, and you want to show them that yes, I'm familiar with the basic methodology and I can do this on my own. So you can do it individually, but most of the research is done in the controlled environment. So the second characteristic is that the research should be rigorous. So why it should be rigorous? Because it helps to follow the procedures to find out the answers which are related to the question. Which question? Our research question that we are trying to answer. And this information should be relevant and appropriate in the nature. And the research information, it will consist of two types of sciences, such as physical and the social sciences, can be clinical sciences, it can be due to in the environmental sciences. I mean, it can be in anything, but the basic characteristics of the research are going to be the same. So research has to be systematic, like you're not just going blindly. There is a proper research methodology that you need to follow, and because if this research is not done in the proper scientific way, then we are wasting time, resources, and efforts, which is not acceptable. Similarly, the research should be valid. What do I mean by valid is that it should be ethical in nature. We should have taken the permission from the ethics committee, which is present in all hospitals, all universities, all departments. So you need to take the formal ethics letter, and then you can just start your own research. Then the research, it should be empirical, which means that any conclusion which is drawn, it is totally based upon ethical or the hard evidence gathered information collected from observations and real life experiences. Research is the foundation of knowledge, because because it is an important source of providing guidelines or norms for solving different social, business, environmental, or the government problems. So it is a variety of formal training which will enable us to understand the new developments in one's field in an efficient way. And I'll repeat again that research is done in every field, and it is very important for you all, especially those the young students, because if you're looking for an opportunity to go out of the country on scholarship, then you need to have some published work. It is going to give you edge. And most of the universities in the world, they expect that before joining any PhD program or any other higher education degree that you are pursuing, you should be familiar with the basic research methodology. Even at national level, like at the undergraduate level, graduate level, at the master's level, at the PhD level, if you are a physician, you are a dentist, again, you need to do some research work. It is highly valued. And if you are already an established professional, still you need to have some published work to establish your credibility. People should know what you are thinking, and can you write your findings in a scientific way or not. So scientific writing is also a part of this basic research course. So whatever type of research you are doing, it is in the field of medicine or it is in any field for that matter. You just name it. Anything under the sun can be researched actually. So you will have to develop a research proposal. In research proposal, you need to mention certain things. What is your basic idea? What is your basic research question? And what is your specific aim? Because we are not just doing these things for fun. Anything you are doing it for a reason. Okay. So what are you trying to establish? Okay. Why this topic is significant? And what is the innovation that you are going to add up here? It also innovation also means that is there any gap in the existing knowledge that you are thinking about doing the clinical research and trying to answer that question? What is going to be your approach? How do you want to do? Do you have any preliminary data? This preliminary data is usually collected from the published work so that you should have some idea that what you are going to expect. So once you have developed your research question, basic idea, basic hypothesis, then what should be the study design? There can be so many different study designs we are going to talk about. Important thing would be what is your study population? Okay. So are you going to have the intervention groups and the comparison groups, or you are just going to have some review of the literature where you don't need anything? So what is your policy for collecting data? How you are going to supervise or monitor that the things are being done in a scientific way? So who is responsible for collecting the data? What search engines you are going to use? You don't have to go to the hospital and look at the files of the patients or main hospitals. They are maintaining their registries. Okay, so you can always harvest data from there. In the IT, in the university, you can get data from so many different sources. Okay, so once you have collected the data, you should start. This is all the approach that we are working from the start of the study. You need to address these basic issues before you will go and do the main work. So what will be your strategy for the data analysis? So when you are talking about the data analysis, then you will have to see that there's so many different things. How you're going to collect the data, how you're going to clean the data, how you're going to analyze it, which software you're going to use. And then you have to make a study timeline also. Like are you going to take the data at the baseline? Are you going to take a second reading after 1 month of intervention, 2 weeks of intervention, or any time? Or you are going to collect data at different points of time. So you should be very clear about it before starting your project. So after that, you need to write your abstract or the project description. Why I said project? Because maybe you are doing your thesis work for the university, okay? But whatever you are doing, you are required to write abstract for everything. Okay. So anytime you're going to write the articles, you know that you can write so many different types of articles. You can write a research article, you can write a review article, okay? Then you can write your own thesis, or you can conduct some meta-analysis, or you can write a systematic reviews, because the clinical trials, they are the best source of information in a way, but usually these trials are very costly and they have huge budget, some mostly in millions, can be in billions. And then these trials are usually sponsored by the big pharmaceutical giants or big hospitals which have got all the facilities and plenty of funds, and they have plenty of people to work for them. So at our level, we are not going to do any clinical trials, but we have one lecture on the clinical trials as well. So if you are writing your thesis or you are writing a synopsis, research proposal, or you are writing a review article, research article, you need to write the title, you need to write the introduction, background, what is the problem statement or the research root cause, why you are doing that, what are you going to do there, what are the objectives, why are you going to do that, what are you trying to establish, then what is your hypothesis, okay? So many universities at the start of the study, they don't ask you to talk about the hypothesis. You just have to give them a broad topic. Like when I was doing this, joining this study program of this MS in translation science, then I think my topic was effect of um, effect of lifestyle modification on the fertility of the couples. Okay, so but I didn't have a clear question in my mind at that time. So as I took some classes, then I was able to narrow down the topic. But remember that you have to start at the micro level. You cannot start at macro level because that will be too big. So go to them very small things as to begin at the micro level. Narrow down your topic. Okay, so it should not be like very long, lengthy topic. It should be something crisp. Okay, and it should be something that you will really enjoy doing it. So what is your proposed methodology? It means first, you have established what you are going to do, and here you are answering how you are going to do the research. Okay, you have to show them the roadmap. You have to tell the supervisor, or you have to show that your senior or your study buddies that what exactly you are going to do and how you are going to do that. Then in the most of the research papers, they will always ask you that if you are doing a certain research, what are you hoping to get at the end of the research? Okay, so you should have, we call it intention. Intention, or the short word would be intent. What is your intent? Why are you doing it? So what are you expecting to find? Time frame is very important because things, they cannot go on indefinitely. So what is your study plan? So, what are the milestones? When are you going to reach them? And what will be your strategy if you are unable to meet the timelines? So, all of these things are important. So, thesis, dissertation, research article, review article, all of these things, they are going, for these, you are going to write down an abstract, which should include the title. Okay. Abstract or the summary, it should contain this is the basic thing, it should be there. So it is just like showing the audience or the reader that what exactly you have done in that part. So this is a brief overview of your research work, okay? Or it is just like the highlight. What are you going to see in this paper? So if the people are interested, they will read it. If they're not interested, they will not read it. After that, you have to write down the introduction part. How do we do that? We review the literature. Mostly you are writing that in the active voice like that, okay? So, and you are not giving the references here, but we are going to talk about all of these things late in the later sessions. So what is your research methodology? You need to tell them what you are going to do, how you are going to do, what are how you are going to collect the results, how you are going to clean the data. SPSS is most widely used, but now there are so many different softwares. I will just show them. I will just show you the new softwares, the new tools to analyze your data. Then the discussion part, you're going to compare your work with the previous researchers, what the previous researchers found, and their findings. They complemented your findings, or the findings from the previous literature, they are contradicting your findings. In the end, you will draw the conclusions that what are my conclusions from this work. Then you need to address that what are the shortcomings, what we couldn't find. Okay, so then we want to show the future researchers that there is a gap here, and if you are in a better place, better position to address these issues, we would recommend that you should be taking out these questions and trying to answer them. Then as we are writing the other parts of the, like in the discussion part, mostly you are giving the references or the, then you need to mention what information was found by a previous researcher and how your work is different or similar to the work of a certain researcher. So these will be your references. You should look at providing as many references as possible as time allows. Okay, don't worry about the data. You are going to find plenty of data. Google Scholar is full of everything. You can go to NIH, you can go to Cochrane. There are so many databases that you can freely access without paying a single penny. So the abstract, it describes your project. Okay, most of the researchers, they say that the best to do it last, but if you need to turn in your abstract or you need to write your research proposal because you are going to get the scholarships, then you have to write it in the start, and then it can be modified as you will find further facts about your topic. So you will have to write down that what is your project, what are your aims, and often only part many reviewers, they will read it, provide, and the reviewers, they will read it and they will provide the first impressions or introduction to the project. So it should be self-contained. Okay, usually it is written in less than 30 lines, and you will have to describe, if you're taking a grant from the university, any university, could be in your country, could be in a or could be in some foreign country, you need to write down what type of grant you have taken. You have taken A grant, K grant, different types of grants are there. R grants are there. Okay, the easiest one to begin with. Then what is the rationale of for your study? Why your project is important? And is it innovative or not? This information is needed because everything you will do, it is going to add up to the existing knowledge. Okay, so you are going to use the resources, so you need to tell them. Even if the reader is going to read your review article, he should know that he's going to read your research article, he needs to know that why he should be reading your article. Is there something innovative? Is there something more interesting? So you need to answer these questions. Give a brief description of the primary objectives and the study designs that you plan to do. And then very brief description of study population, the methods, and what will be the potential impact, implications, and applications of these findings. And then you need to finish on a strong note, because that's why you should be convinced of what you are doing, and only then you can convince others. So if you're writing your thesis, dissertation, you're writing a research article, a review article, you are going to give a title, abstract, or the summary, which we will just look upon. Then introduction, literature review. So you will have to write down the body, headings, and the subheadings. The research methodology, you have to write down all steps in detail. What were your results? So data analysis, it can be done through Excel, it can be done on SPSS, R labs, they are very popular and reliable. Python, then RedCap, Trinitex. There are so many different softwares and they analyze your data very effectively. So um, once you just get your data analyzed, better to get it analyzed by a biostatistician as well. Or if you're good in biostats, you can do it yourself. But try to do it through two sources so that you will be sure of your results. Discussion, conclusion, and the references. So once you have written everything, then your aim should be to get your work published in some accredited journal. If you have written thesis for your PhD work, or even for your um, work in the medicine or in any field you are doing, then you should remember that you can use that data in different ways. Like you have written your main research work in the form of thesis. I remember that in many specializations, even in the medicine, you have to do the research work. Okay, so you are going to write your basic thesis, but you have data, so you can always write a review article also. Okay, you can write another shorter research paper. You can present that information in the poster sessions. Poster sessions, they don't give you like too much credit, but still they are a good way of sharing your information with other people. So then you should see that where you will send your work for publication. Go for the established publishers, the indexed journals, because if you're just sending your work to any unknown journal or any non-indexed journal, then you're not going to get any benefit in your career like that. Okay, because the credibility is not like very strong. Who is the editors? Who are the reviewers? They are going to look at your work and then they will tell you that what you need to do. If you need to change anything, they will ask you to do that. So there are many reviewers. Mostly these are the people who are like who have been published several times and they are good in their field, and then they can also assess the articles written by other people. So if you are sending your information, your article to some journal, you will like to see that what is the impact factor. The impact factor is also important. It will how you will know about that as we will go through the course, we will talk about it. So basically, you will try to find the impact factor over the last 2 years. So as we will go through the further classes, so I will be telling you that what is a citation, and we are going to study it in detail later. Then what are the differences between the studies? What are the differences between the thesis and the other studies? Okay. So what are the different types of research articles that you can get published? What are the different forms of proposals? Okay. Can you have like short communications with the journals? Can you write the review articles? Okay. How many words should be there in the synopsis? Like most of the universities, they are giving you a limit, like they should be like um, 300 to 400 words or like that. So you will have to follow their guidelines. So when we do the basic research courses, our aim is that everyone should be able to do the research. So way back when I was a student in the medical college, The research was thought like something from the heavens, and only like the most qualified people they should be doing the research. This is a good thing that now everyone is required by default to participate in the research. So, like I told you that I'm from the Ariz Academy of Science and Research. So they are like they have been in the field for like last 18 years. So you can always talk to them. They offer free courses. They also offer the paid courses. Like there are many researches. It's up to you that what exactly you are looking for. They give you different types of courses like on the analysis. They give you different services like the help on the thesis, what should be the methodology, discussions, conclusions. Everything is different, and they are just going to take you through the course of the type of the research that you are planning to do. So then I think these are the simple things. If you have any questions, you can ask me here, or you can just write down in the group, and we will do our best to answer your questions like that. So I would say thank you on behalf of my team, those who are conducting this research, and they are asking you guys to participate. So the thing is that I will recap that research is something which is considered essential. And this is very important. If somebody walks over to you and tells you that why are you doing research? Doing research is not important. Don't pay attention. Research is very important. Even if you are an established clinician, IT expert, business analyst, still you are required to do some research. Why? Because because it will take you to the higher places. Okay? If there are two persons, two doctors, two consultants, and they have like same credentials, then the difference which will be made, it will be made on the basis of the published research work. Whatever is in the pipeline, that is not considered. Okay, but what has been published, that is credible, because it will tell the people that you actually know you have done some work, and this work was of good quality. It was written, it was well conducted, it was a well conducted study. It has been done, it has been published, it was reviewed by certain people, it was approved, it was accepted, it has been published, and then your work has been cited by the other researchers as well. The more citations you have, the better you would be. So that's why it is very, very important to do quality research work. So in the next session, we are going to talk about the practical aspects of the research. In the meanwhile, if you will have any questions, just let me know in the group, and I'll be very happy to answer these questions.
This conference will now be recorded.
So wherever you are going to submit your research paper, they will ask you to follow certain guidelines. Okay, here just I pulled out one document, and this is for the Saudi Board of Obstetrics and Gynecology. But trust me, the similar things are demanded by the National Institute of Health of Pakistan, or most of the universities in the world. Even in the NIH USA, they will ask you for all of these things. So what is considered a research article or research work? If there is an original article, it could be a review article. You can send them systematic reviews. You can send a meta-analysis and case series with review literature of the addressed cases. It can be given, but case reports, you can see here, they are no longer acceptable, and you are not given any credit. See here the difference. The case report, when you are telling the people about just one case because something happened. Like I remember like 10 years ago, BMJ, the British Medical Journal, it conducted several workshops, and they told us that the case reports are they present a very high level of evidence because they are about single person who has developed that condition, and we are talking about it. But then there was a lot of discussion around it. So the case reports, they are not accepted as research work. So If you're spending time, then try to spend time in writing in original article or systematic reviews or the review articles, meta-analysis, or give them a case series. What is a case series? Like several people, they are having the same problem. Okay, so you have reported several cases. Like in the COVID-19 pandemic, initially there was a case report from the Wuhan district of the China. But then there was a case series again from the Wuhan region of the China, and then the cases were reported from across the world like that. Okay, so these are the things. So then I hope that you can see here that they didn't write anything about the clinical trials. Why again? Why? Because the clinical trials are a very big thing to do like that. Time intensive, cost intensive, and it can take years and years before we will reach any conclusion. That is one thing. And all clinical trials, they are not going to be of good quality. Okay, they are of good quality only like if it will be a randomized clinical trial. That is one thing. Okay, so and if the research can be like single center or it can be like multi-center. It can be departmental research or it can be interdepartmental research. Like 2 years ago, we did one research on the mycoplasma infection in the pregnant women and the neonates. So there we worked with the neonatologist, with the obstetrician, and also with the microbiologist and the biostatisticians from the university. So, or it could be like a meta-analysis in which you are going to collect data from the published studies like that. Okay? And then it is allowed to have more than one trainees submitting the research. Many people, they can be contributing to one research work. So there are differences between the meta-analysis and the systematic review. In the systematic reviews, you are taking the published as well as unpublished work. But for the meta-analysis, you are going to pull out everything from the published studies. Original articles are always highly appreciated. Okay. And here you can include the surveys also, because surveys, they will show the um, cross-sectional studies. What was the information available at on the condition at a certain point of time like that. Okay, that is one thing. So the text of the research, like I showed you just a while ago, everyone demands. This one is from some authority. That's why I am showing you again. It should contain an abstract. It should have an introduction part. It should tell you about the patients of the population and the methods and the results. They should interpret the results accurately. Then it should have an article should have a discussion part where you are telling them how your work compares with the work of the other researchers. Okay, what conclusions are drawn from here? What are the shortcomings of the study? And then what are the references? And in the references, you can give any number of references. Like I've seen people giving like 200 references. Everything can be done, but look towards providing like 30 to 50 references. Okay, and then the tables and the figures, they are given separately. Okay, as we read the research work, then we are going to see all of these things in the center of the article. But when you are submitting your research work, then you need to provide the tables and the figures separately, like they're mentioned after the references. So the abstract, different universities, they will have like different um, word count, but on average it should contain up to 250 words. Like, and what should be covered in the abstract? Background, methods, results, conclusions, and it also provides like 3 to 6 keywords at the bottom of the abstract. Introduction. This is, it should clearly outline the purpose of the study and what is the gap in the literature that this study will bridge. And it should be given with the, like, citations can be given. Remember, these are citations. There is difference between the citations and the references. What materials were used? What was the study design? It was simply an observational study or it was experimental? have the eligibility and the exclusion criteria mentioned in the population of interest or not. Statistics, they should be outlined, and ethical approval is the first thing. If you are going to take data from your hospital, you cannot just go and take the data. Trust me, nobody will let you into the medical records. You need to have the approval. How to get the approval, we will talk about this one as well. And so so you need to get all the information. If you will take the medical record without permission of the concerned authorities, then it is considered a crime like that. Okay, this is one thing. And everything you are giving them, it should be written in a good way. It should be provided, and several people, they can work on that study like that. So usually, any number of people, they can go and they can talk about the study, like they can participate in the work. So usually nowadays, five authors are there, that is good. So if you're like if the research has been done by a group of people, then we are writing like I'm Aisha, I will write Aisha et al. It means Aisha and her group like that. Okay. So when we are talking about the ethics, anywhere you will go, you will have to tell them what is the title of the research, what is the study type that you are going to do, then is there any scientific consent. So I have read this consent form. All my questions about the study and my part in it, they have been answered. This you have to take permission from the patient that we are including her data in the study like that. Okay. If you are harvesting the data from the published studies, like you are writing a meta-analysis, or you are using international banks of the data, like I've just showed you, like databases like the RedCap, Epic, Encore, Trinetics, then you just need this departmental permission to harvest data from there. So, name of the subject, what is their email address, the subject or the participant, they should sign their name clearly here. What is their cell phone number like that. So then signature of the person conducting informed consent and discussion, it should also be here. The date on which date this information has been collected like that. Okay. Then after that, we need to tell them about the work plan for the project. Like what is the title of your research? Who is the main investigator? Like main investigators, they are also of different types. The one who is conducting the study, and then one who is corresponding with the journal. So the one who is dealing with the journal regarding publication, that will be the corresponding author. So again, you need to write down what is the study type, then what is the specific objective, and like what is the, so even if the proposal is there, who is the person who has written that, what time it was written, and the details. References also, who collected, during which time, what are the details. What was your literature review? Then sample patients file reviewing, if you are doing, who did that, at what time, what was the date, who consented, and who gave you the record. You need to do everything. How the data has been collected, how you have entered the data, how this data has been verified, how it has been analyzed, what are the results. So regarding the write-up also, you need to write down the introduction, discussion, conclusion, and abstract. All of these are the write-ups. This is the practical work, and this is the thing that you are going to write. Then, what was the first draft revision, what was the second draft, then what was the third draft, and then the final revision. That's why, if you need to do some research work, you should make that a priority and do that the start, because these things, they take a lot of time. Correspondence with the journals is also going to take a lot of time. If your abstract or your study is not written in a good way, then people are not going to read it. Similarly, they are not going to benefit from it like that. Okay. So different people, they will do research for the different reasons like that. Okay. So when you are submitting your research, like I've just told you, that you have to fulfill a certain criteria. So find out that in which journal you will like your work to be published. Okay, what are their criteria for it, and do you think that you are going to give them the manuscript in a good way, or like what? So that is very important. You should be able to provide them all the answers like that. Okay, so that's all we have for today. This is just like an abstract I wanted to show you, that here we did one study on the COVID-19. So we wrote like a short background, short objective, some description of our methods, what were our results, and then what were the conclusions, and then what were the keywords. Okay, so until this point, this is the just the abstract like that. Okay, and after that the formal article started. So we wrote the introduction part, and then we went to the other parts of the study like that. Okay, so sometimes even the published, like many great workers, they will not show you anything. So usually when you are submitting your articles, you are writing some, giving some information like that, who is doing, where we are going to do. Like this was one study, like prevalence of the urinary bladder injury during lower segment cesarean section. So in the abstract, we mentioned the background, why this topic is important, what was our objective. Some journals, they will ask you to write down your specific aims. Specific aims are going to tell them that what was your intention. So in the specific aim, you need to write down what is your aim, and what will be your approach, how you are going to do that, what challenges you expect to see, and what will be impact of the finding that you are finding looking at. Similarly, do you have any other specific aim? What is the challenge that you expect, anticipate, and what will be your approach in finding the information? And then what will be the impact of your findings? What is your study population? So essentially, these are the exclusion and the inclusion criteria. So the results, how you are going to analyze them, what will be conclusion, and what would be the keywords. Okay, so that this part of the study is going to constitute the abstract of the study. Sometimes the people, they don't write this section very well, so as a result they leave a bad impression. So you need to avoid that. Okay? So pay attention to whatever you are doing and try to do that in the best possible way.